How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions, and I'm Eddie. So glad to have you guys back, and these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. Hey guys, today marks the 20th of the month. That is my sobriety date, the 20th of each month. So I always bring awareness to alcoholism. You'll want to stick around for this even if you don't deem yourself an alcoholic. Just for educational purposes, just watch the dang movie. Or watch this video. Okay, so I've been sober now for 19 months. Today is 19 months. So I got sober January 20th, 2020. Okay, so check this out, guys. I want to explain this story. I want to say a story and then education about this. So the reason why I bring this up is because I've been going to online classes as well as some online meetings that it's called In the Rooms. It's an app. Check it out. You might like it if you're in AA, but if you're not, check it out anyways, just to educate yourself. Why, if you have people in your family who have alcoholism, it's more than likely that you have it too. You just haven't experienced it yet. But one of the things that came to me within this class that I'm in is this: there's a lot of young people in the class, and last week there was a class on addiction, and it was amazing to me, man. It was like I didn't realize that I was those kids back when I was their age. You can tell that they're just either in high school or just getting out of high school. You know, the crazy thing is this, you guys. There was like 15 to 20 people in there. And the addiction counselor, or the counselor of the DUI class, he asked, who in here deems himself an alcoholic or addict? And so you can tell that the ones that have been around for a while, right? The older ones, me being myself, I raised my hand, and then they asked us, so what do you think about it? And so some of us already had a lot of education on it. Now, what was interesting is I'll never forget this, and this has actually changed my perspective on, I think, how we should teach and treat our younger crowd. We're not teaching them the right way. Well, I think we don't treat them with enough respect, and also we don't teach them in a way that we always talk about the severity of it, right? Like it's all scary, and then like when we do that, I feel like those kids, they don't think that they have the problem. And that's the interesting fact. But the way we teach them is like, or they know is like, oh, my dad was a terrible alcoholic, I'll never do that. Well, we always say that, right? But then we end up becoming that. So how do we fix that problem? All right, guys, so check this out. So there was this girl who, he was going down the list of the people who said that they didn't believe that they were alcoholic or addict. That it was just a situational issue. And it was so interesting to me because it was alarming, because the excuses that were being given, not only that, it's the way that they explained it was baffling. Excuse me. So check this out, guys. He asked this girl, do you think that you have a problem? She said, no, I don't. I was like, she said, I made a mistake. It was the first time drinking, and I got a DUI. Okay. What she doesn't understand is alcoholism or drug addiction, right? That is number one issue in our society. We don't educate our kids in high school or in middle school about it. Not in the way that they need to know. I think if we high-end educated them on this topic, they wouldn't do it. Still wouldn't keep people from doing it, but I don't think that we educate enough about this. This is a real world problem. There's a lot of deaths that happen with this, and there's a lot of lives ruined and a lot of generational curses because of this stuff. This is why I bring attention to it. Now check this out, guys. So she said the most interesting thing to me. She said, I'm not an alcoholic, but she said it in a way that it was judgmental to the rest of us, right? And that is the mentality of not just her, but that is a lineage that's been taught. That it's looked down upon if another person, alcoholic or drug addict, and then you get turned off. I notice a lot of people will watch my videos until I start talking about this because they don't want to be educated on it, and they don't want to be educated on it because they don't want to be associated with it. What they don't understand is being associated with it has nothing to do with the alcoholic or addict. It has to do with what's inside of you, right? But it's a stigma, and these stigmas are killing people. That's the problem. The major issue here is that that stigma is killing people. They don't even want to educate themselves on it. Now, it's interesting how she said, I'm not addicted to drugs or alcohol, but I do notice that, like, when you guys are talking, that I have a hard time managing my emotions. I have a hard time. And I do notice that, like, I have anxiety and stress. And she was explaining alcoholism in a different way. And to me, it's like, it's like I didn't sit there and say anything, but, like, I knew to myself, it's like, this is the issue. The issue is that they don't want to be associated with because anytime we see an alcoholic or drug addict, they're problematic at that point, right? There's 5 stages to this process. And so the issue isn't the alcohol or the drug. Those are the reliefs of those are just symptoms. You drinking or doing a drug, that's just a symptom of the problem. The actual problem is within you. And that girl was explaining the problem perfectly. And the counselor, like, he was like, you can tell he's going to wait for a couple of weeks to say something to her, but because you can't just burn someone up real quick, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be able to teach someone's going to shut down. I can tell what he's going to do. But the interesting thing is that, like, she said that she doesn't know how to regulate her emotions. She doesn't have a support system. She also has gone through trauma, and that's, you guys, there's 3, I'm going to go over the 3 things that make you an alcoholic, and then the 5 things, the stages of alcoholism. So the 3 things, the trifecta, the triad that makes you an alcoholic is the obsession of the mind, the physical allergy, and the spiritual malady. And all that means, you guys, is this. In your mind, we have this chemical, a way that an alcoholic is in an alcoholic's mind. And yes, there's only a certain percentage of the population that has this, but I believe that it's a lot bigger than what the figures are. Think about it like this. If out of 20 people in that room, only 5 or 6 people raised their hands and said that they weren't an alcoholic, they were the only ones that were brave enough to do it, right? So check this out. I believe that the figure is a lot bigger. Also this, you guys. So if you think about it like this, it's your mind. In an alcoholic's mind, once we drink, it only to get that head change, that feeling, then the problems start to go away. That's what happens in alcoholic. It feels freedom. They feel freedom from the burdens of normal life. But what happens within in the mind is the crave. So the physical allergy is that change of mind, right? The physical allergy is you actually drinking it, and I need more. I need more. I need more. That's why in that girl's issue, what she didn't realize is that she's already in one of the stages of actual alcoholism, the 5 stages. But she's already displaying alcoholic behavior without the alcohol, right? Well, the one incident already shows that. So this is what you need to know. So once that physiology is activated, and it's the obsession of the mind begins. But you already display those 3 factors without alcohol. You do it with adrenaline. You do it with your phone. You do it with Facebook. You ever do the constant scrolling and you're searching? That's stress. That's anxiety. Doing that number right here, that's an stressful anxiety task. You're feeding your mind at a rapid rate, and yeah, your mind can handle it, but it's also like high anxiety. So you need to be. This is what I say is that you got to know yourself. Where do you fall in line? I knew from a young age, if I had the education, I would have known that I was an alcoholic or addict, because I was a crazy kid, but I was also abused. That's another thing, you guys. Trauma makes it. This is like the worst cocktail. Having that 3 triad that I talk about, mixed with trauma and abandonment, stress, anxiety, though that is and then the predisposition, which means that like a genetic disposition. So like I have a long line of family that are alcoholics. So I had everything going against me. All I needed to do is to secure the one fact of me taking the drink. Once I took the drink, that was a wrap. I immediately went through the 5 stages. I jumped to the 4th stage immediately. I was able to play it off a lot longer. But people picked up on it after a while. But this is the most important thing about this subject, you guys. The 5 stages. It doesn't matter. You don't need the alcohol or the drug for you to be an alcoholic or drug addict. You already display those tendencies in other habits. And most alcoholics don't realize this as well, is that once you stop drinking and doing drugs, those habits have fell into other portions of your life. You just haven't taken the look yet. You're going to get there, but that's a part of the spiritual process, the spiritual progress that you need in your life. It's forward movement, but you have to get one problem at a time, right? One day at a time is what we teach. Okay, guys. So what are the 5 stages? The 5 stages, the first stage in this process is experimental and binge drinking, right? That's how my story started out. I always talk about like the end process, right? Where like things were crazy and I was in hell, where I'm crying on a curb or in a park because I lived there for about 2-3 months, haven't taken a shower, I'm homeless, I didn't know I'm about to get arrested because I'm about to kill myself kind of deal. That's where it ended up. But where did it start? I started out like that little girl in that class saying, I'm a good looking dude. I'm good at sports. I have a beautiful career ahead of me. Like how everyone told me around me, like I have so much potential. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just going to a party and drinking a 40 ounce, smoking my Swisher Sweet because I thought I was cool, right? No one told me what was to come, because no one educated me on what an alcoholic is. All they said is this: oh, be careful if you drink, you're going to become an alcoholic. And you know the person on the street, the corner, no one's going to associate themselves with that because they don't understand that. So the way that I'm teaching it right now is telling, like, if people were taught this in the way that it's being taught right now, this would change lives. We need to really educate our generations. I believe that sometime in the distant future, people are going to look at alcoholism and drug addiction as barbaric, archaic. Why would a person subject themselves to a poison? That's another question you have to ask yourself. Why do you want to escape? We want to escape, you guys, because it's fucking miserable here. That is a fact. And the reason why it's miserable is because we weren't taught how to regulate our emotions like that little girl said. We don't have loved ones that taught us right. We don't have role models that are within our immediate families. We keep teaching BS to the next generation that's right in front of us. And these poor girls and guys ended up growing into these alcoholics. And then the people who aren't alcoholics within that family despise them because of it. Ostracize them, make fun of them, downtrot them, steal from them, lie to them, treat them like dirt. Right? See, this is the problem, you guys. It's a cycle that needs to be fixed. And this is how we fix it. Education. All right, so the first stage was experimental, right? The second one is what is it? I think it's building a tolerance to it. So you no longer like are drinking 2 or 3 days. You're drinking 4, or maybe you drink for once a month. Then it starts becoming twice a month, and then it grows, right? And then that one beer isn't enough. You end up having to get like 2 or 3, and then it ends up becoming a 6-pack, then a 12-pack. So it's escalating, right? The third stage of this is problem drinking. So the thing is about that story with the girl, she jumped immediately to problem drinking. She skipped 1 and 2 automatically. What does that tell that girl? She didn't hear it though when we were trying to teach her the 5 stages, because she didn't want to be associated with a meth addict or a drug addict or a heroin addict or an alcoholic. See, that's the problem. We associate stupidity, ignorance with, it's not education, right? We in our minds we're like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to that guy who was a bum. I don't care if he was in the military, has PTSD. I don't want to hear the excuses. He's an alcoholic and drug addict. He's lower than me. But what she doesn't understand is she's on the road already to get to the third. She's already at the third process. All she has to do is continue the battle is to keep drinking. She's going to end up getting to the fourth stage. And what is the fourth stage? That's addiction. That's dependency. I think the fourth stage is dependency. Dependency and addiction, something like that. So the only way, once you get past, I feel like once you get to stage 4, it's already too late. I even believe that stage 3 is too late. It's gonna be a place where you're going to have to either go to a meeting or get educated on what it is. Some people can just stop. Some people go to stage 3, have a problem, and then they walk away from it, right? They're like, I can't do this anymore, this isn't good, and then they stop. But this is the thing, you guys, when you cross the imaginary line, which I believe is stage 3, stage 4, when you're dependent on it, when you get to a place where like you actually have a dependency on alcohol, I got there. Once I got there, it was a wrap for me. So you guys, if I drank today, one beer, you guys, the obsession of the mind begins. And what happens to me, and what will begin to happen to you once you reach this stage, I go back to the last time I drank. So it would take me within a 4-week span, even shorter, for me to be back on the streets, because I turn into the problem drinker again. I don't freaking start at stage 1 again, or let's go back out and have fun and go pick up girls and do this and do that. No, I go back to the streets, or I go start living back in motels. I start the drug addiction because the alcohol is not enough. And then I'm dependent on the alcohol, the highs and the lows. That's where it gets, you guys. I didn't start there, though. I started out like the kind, gentle, innocent boy, and then turned into the savage. That's what I want you guys to know. And we need to teach our kids, don't be afraid, or I say this, you guys, I'm going to end it with this. Don't be afraid to educate your kids on this subject. Don't be afraid to tell them what you are. And don't tell them in the ways, you guys, where don't tell them just the end story. Tell them the whole thing. Tell them how the beginning stages work. And all we can do at the end of the day is give them the information. Experience at the end of the day is what they're gonna do anyways. And we live in a culture that supports alcoholism and drug addiction, whether you know it or not. All right, you guys. I come with you guys with the message of hope. My life has changed immensely. This message comes with hope, education. Educate your people, your close ones, your loved ones. Educate them, and I promise you, and if you're in the stages at the end that I'm talking about, where you feel miserable, then there is no up from down, you don't know left from right anymore, and you don't have any more answers, and you know if you drink again that it could be your last time living on earth, but you know you can't stop, that's the best place to be at, you guys, because then you need to get help. Unfortunately, people, this is where the story, for me, gets sour and bitter. Tomorrow's not promised. I lost my brother to this problem, to this issue, to a disease that has a solution. I found the solution, and my brother didn't. My brother lost his life, took his life in the process. He died from alcoholism and drug addiction. His story needs to be known. Check out my brother's story. I have it posted, you guys. It says my brother's story. It's in black. I have what is it called? A thumbnail. It's in, I forget what category it's in, but check it out throughout my videos, and I'll tell you my brother's story and how our stories are combined. And the only difference, you guys, is that I found a program that gave me the solution. And you guys, it's not a magical pill that you take. It's the work that I talk about. And this isn't just have to do with alcoholics and drug addicts. This happens to deem everyone on planet Earth. I don't care who you are. We deal with addiction in some way or another. What we do is we stigmatize and categorize certain groups, and we don't realize that we all fall in this pattern. All of us have the spiritual malady. You see what I'm saying? The spiritual malady is the character defects, the character flaws, the things that make us low vibrational at the end of the day. When I say do the work, It's the trauma work that needs to be done. You need to do the inner perspective work. You need to know yourself. You need to know why you do things, half the time it's because of your childhood. If you had a bad childhood, you guys, you are so prone to being an alcoholic and drug addict, it's not even funny. But not only that, you guys, you're prone to being a-holes. You're prone to cheating, stealing, lying. That's because it's a spiritual malady. The spiritual malady is within the heart space. All right, guys, I have so much to teach about this subject. I only make these videos once a month. I should probably make a category just for this. But you guys, this is a serious issue. You should be educated in this process. I will definitely teach this when I become a life coach. I want people to know this progress. It's not just for alcoholics and addicts. This is for everybody. You guys, if you enjoyed my video, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell every time I make a video. You guys, you'll see it. You guys, I love you guys very much. Spread this video, you guys. Let people know about this. This stuff is real. This stuff kills people. You guys, I love you guys so much. Spread the word. I love you. I'll catch you guys in the next one.